What's up, Steelers Nation? The team is once again looking to get better, and you can feel it in the air. The front office is working around the clock, looking for ways to bring in more playmakers and strengthen this roster before the trade deadline. Before we dive into the latest exclusive update from NFL insider Ian Rappaport about the Steelers' trade plans, make sure to hit that like button to support the channel. It really helps us bring you more Steelers news every single day. Now let's get into it. According to Rappaport, the Pittsburgh Steelers are back in the market for a wide receiver. Yes, again. Even after landing DK Metcalf earlier this offseason, Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin aren't satisfied. The team wants to add another dynamic weapon to help Aaron Rodgers in this offense reach its full potential before the playoffs. Rappaport's exact words were clear. The Steelers are, once again, in the market for a receiver. Their offense has thrived by featuring multiple tight ends, but the addition of a speed threat to pair with DK Metcalf would help Aaron Rodgers in the offense. That tells you everything. The Steelers see an opportunity to turn a good offense into an elite one. And this isn't just a Rappaport report. ESPN's Adam Schefter backed it up too, saying the Steelers are actively shopping for a receiver along with other NFL contenders. Schefter explained, "There will be trades made this week. The Chargers are looking for a running back, the Steelers are looking for a receiver, and the Eagles are always in the mix." So let's break this down. Who could the Steelers be targeting? Reports from multiple outlets have linked Pittsburgh to some big-time names. A.J. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Jacoby Myers, and Chris Olave are all on the radar. And honestly, none of those names are surprising. Pittsburgh has been bold this entire year, trading for DK Metcalf, adding Jalen Ramsey, and bringing in tight end Jonnu Smith. Omar Khan has made it clear he's not afraid to make noise. Now, the most intriguing name on that list might be A.J. Brown. Former Bengals legend Chad Johnson even fueled those rumors, saying on social media that he could see Brown being traded to the Steelers if things don't turn around and Philly's locker room drama doesn't calm down. Johnson said, "Where there's smoke, there's fire. If things don't turn around in Philly, even if they're winning, that's something that can happen." Now, that's not nothing. Chad has close ties to players and teams across the league. If he's hearing whispers, you better believe there's something brewing. Meanwhile, Rappaport also revealed that the Steelers already made calls to the Saints about Chris Olave and even reached out to Washington about Terry McLaurin before eventually landing DK Metcalf from Seattle. Clearly, Pittsburgh has been active and aggressive. Now here's where it gets interesting. While some stars might be off the market, like Jalen Waddle, who Rappaport says Miami refuses to trade, others could still be available. Rappaport noted several teams have called the Dolphins about Jalen Waddle, but sources say Miami has no interest in trading him. It seems more likely they deal a defensive player like Bradley Chubb or Jalen Phillips. That's a major update. It takes one elite option off the table, but leaves others wide open. The Steelers' interest in speed makes perfect sense. Right now, DK Metcalf is the dominant number one, but Calvin Austin III, the guy who was supposed to stretch defenses, has struggled with consistency and injuries. He's missed a couple of games with a shoulder issue, and while the team has relied heavily on tight ends, that lack of a true deep threat has limited the offense's explosiveness. Aaron Rodgers is at his best when he has a field-stretching weapon. Just look back to his days with Green Bay and what he did with players like Marquez Valdez-Scantling or Jordy Nelson. A guy like Olave or even a crafty veteran like Myers could open up the playbook and make Aaron Rodgers even more dangerous downfield. So here's the big question. Could Omar Khan actually pull off another blockbuster before the trade deadline? Based on his track record? Absolutely. Khan has proven to be one of the most aggressive general managers in football. The Metcalf trade was proof that he's not afraid to make the bold move when the opportunity arises. Now, it's worth mentioning that while the Steelers' offense is what's getting all the headlines, the defense might also be part of these discussions. That unit, which is one of the most expensive in the entire league, just got torched by the Bengals in Week 7. The secondary gave up huge plays to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and even the Bengals' third receiver, Andre Isavasis, managed to beat Darius Slay deep on a critical drive. Cam Hayward made it clear after that game, the defense needs to be more disciplined, more physical, and more united. And yet, it wouldn't be shocking if the front office looked to add a piece there too. Rappaport hinted that Pittsburgh could explore moves for a veteran defensive back or linebacker if the right opportunity arises.
When the Steelers started searching for a new quarterback this past offseason, fans knew it was going to be a defining moment for the franchise. The post-Roethlisberger years were filled with uncertainty, with names like Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, and others trying to fill the void. But when the rumors started swirling that Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin were developing a strong connection, Steelers Nation perked up, because that meant something big was in the works. And sure enough, it happened. Rodgers, 41 years old, a four-time NFL MVP, joined forces with Mike Tomlin for the 2025 season in what many called a win-now gamble. Critics said he was past his prime, but Tomlin saw leadership, experience, and fire still burning inside one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And let's be honest, through 6 games, Rodgers has been everything the Steelers hoped for and more. Right now, Pittsburgh sits at 4-2. That record doesn't just reflect wins, it reflects a new sense of control and poise on offense. Rodgers has brought stability that this team has lacked for years. He's completed 68.6% of his passes, thrown for 1,270 yards, and already has 14 touchdowns, compared to just 5 interceptions. The chemistry between Rodgers and his new teammates, especially DK Metcalf and tight end Pat Freiermuth, has been impressive. He's spreading the ball around like a master conductor leading an orchestra. And the offensive line, which struggled last season, looks revitalized under his leadership. You can see the confidence growing every week. Now here's where it gets truly incredible. NFL reporter Will Graves dropped a stat that has fans losing their minds. Aaron Rodgers is on pace to break Ben Roethlisberger's single-season Steelers passing touchdown record. That's right, Big Ben's record, 34 touchdown passes in the 2018 season, could soon belong to Aaron Rodgers. Let that sink in for a second. Roethlisberger's name is etched in Steelers history. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion, a franchise icon, and one of the most beloved figures in Pittsburgh sports. His 2018 season, where he threw for over 5,100 yards, was one of the most prolific years ever by a Steelers quarterback.
And yet, at 41 years old, Rodgers is on pace to surpass that record with a level of efficiency that even Roethlisberger didn't reach that year. Rodgers' current completion percentage and touchdown-to-interception ratio show a quarterback who's not just producing, he's dominating. For a franchise that's seen legends like Terry Bradshaw and Ben Roethlisberger define entire eras, it's almost surreal to think that Rodgers, a mid-40s veteran, could carve out his own chapter in Steelers history. What's even crazier is that he's doing it with poise, precision, and that classic Rodgers swagger. But it's not just about stats. Rodgers has brought leadership to a locker room that desperately needed it. You can see the difference in the huddle. Players trust him. The younger guys listen. The offense feels more balanced, confident, and prepared for big moments. And for the first time since Roethlisberger's retirement, Steelers fans can watch the offense and feel that same sense of excitement again. Now, let's be real. There's still a long season ahead. Injuries, defensive lapses, and the brutal AFC North schedule can shift everything in a heartbeat. And that brings us to the biggest concern right now, the defense. The Steelers' defense, which was supposed to be elite, has actually been the weak point through the first 6 games of 2025. When Rodgers came to town, the plan was simple. Let the defense dominate and let Rodgers manage games efficiently. But what's happened is the opposite. The offense is bailing out the defense week after week. Cam Hayward has openly voiced frustration after recent games, saying the defense needs to grow up and stop putting the offense in bad spots. The secondary has struggled with communication, the pass rush hasn't been as consistent as expected, and teams are finding ways to exploit mismatches. It's not all doom and gloom. There's still elite talent there with T.J. Watt, Jalen Ramsey, and Joey Porter Jr., but the group hasn't fully clicked yet. And that's the one thing holding this team back from being a legitimate Super Bowl contender. If that defense can regain its form and Rodgers continues this pace, there's no reason this Steelers team can't make a deep playoff run. Imagine a playoff-bound Pittsburgh team with Rodgers still firing darts and the defense finally living up to its billing. That's the kind of balance championship teams are built on. But let's circle back to the headline. Rodgers potentially breaking Roethlisberger's record. Whether he does it or not, one thing is certain. He's brought new energy, a new belief, and a new standard to the offense. Steeler Nation can feel it. Every throw, every drive, every moment, it just feels different this year. And that's the beauty of this story. Rodgers came to Pittsburgh not just to chase another ring, but to remind the football world that he still has greatness left in him. 6 games in, he's doing just that, rewriting expectations, changing narratives, and possibly rewriting the record books too. So yeah, the Steelers could be buyers on both sides of the ball, which says a lot about their mindset. They're not content with good enough. They're going all in. Now, let's look at the big picture. At 4-2, the Steelers are still sitting atop the AFC North. The Thursday night loss to Cincinnati hurt, but it didn't derail the season. This team still controls its destiny, and adding another weapon for Rodgers could be the move that puts them over the top heading into the second half of the season. If the Steelers manage to land a true burner like Olave or even Rashid Shaheed from the Saints, this offense could go from balanced to terrifying overnight. Just imagine Rodgers with Metcalf on one side and a speedster on the other. That's the kind of combo that keeps defensive coordinators up at night. But that brings us to the real question for you, Steeler Nation. What should Omar Khan do? Should he continue to push for another wide receiver, going all in on the offense, or should he shift focus to shoring up that secondary that looked shaky against Cincinnati? The clock is ticking toward the trade deadline, and one thing's for sure. Pittsburgh is not done making moves. So buckle up, because the next few weeks could get very interesting. Steeler fans, what do you think? Should the team go after another wide receiver like Chris Olave, or maybe even take a shot at A.J. Brown if he becomes available? Or do you think it's time to invest in another corner or safety to fix the defense? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think Omar Khan should do next. And if you enjoyed this update and want to stay on top of every Steelers rumor, trade, and insider report, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for daily news. Because here in Pittsburgh, we don't just talk football, we live it. Go Steelers!